There is a reason chicken does not taste like it used to. There is a reason your grandmother cooked it differently. There is a reason the meat was darker, richer, and the fat was golden yellow. And there is a reason your joints started hurting around the same time chicken became the cheapest protein in America. This did not happen by accident, and it did not start in hospitals. It started on farms in 1974, when an entire industry made a decision that would reshape American health for the next 50 years. Welcome to Healing Knowledge Vault. Before we open this vault, if these stories matter to you, the best way to preserve this wisdom is simple. Subscribe, hit the bell, and share these vaults with those who need to remember what we forgot. The archive opens in rural America, 1965. A family farm in Iowa. A farmer named Harold tends a flock of 200 chickens. They roam freely across 3 acres of pasture. They eat grass in the morning when the dew is still fresh. They scratch for insects in the afternoon. They peck at seeds, clover, and wildflowers. At night, they roost in a simple wooden coop. These chickens take 16 weeks to reach market weight. Their meat is dark, almost mahogany near the bone. The fat is golden yellow, stained by the beta-carotene from all those greens. When Harold's wife cooks a chicken on Sunday, the smell fills the house. Rich, deep, unmistakable. This is what chicken meant for thousands of years. Now, fast forward to 1980. Same town, different farm. The chickens live in a metal warehouse, 10,000 birds packed into a space the size of a basketball court. They have never seen sunlight. They have never touched dirt. They have never eaten a blade of grass or caught a single insect. They eat only one thing. A mixture of ground corn and soybeans, fortified with synthetic vitamins and antibiotics to prevent the diseases that spread in tight quarters. These chickens reach market weight in 6 weeks. The meat is pale, almost white. The fat is colorless. When you cook it, the smell is faint, watery, bland. You noticed, everyone noticed, but no one explained why. Between 1965 and 1980, something fundamental changed in American agriculture. It was not gradual, it was not accidental. It was deliberate, calculated, and driven by a single goal. Speed. The poultry industry discovered that by confining chickens indoors and feeding them pure corn and soy, they could cut growing time in half. In 1974, the transition reached critical mass. Thousands of family farms sold their flocks or went out of business. Massive confined animal feeding operations, CAFOs, replaced them. These industrial facilities could grow 50,000 chickens at a time, cycling through 6 flocks per year. The efficiency was staggering. By 1980, over 90% of American chicken came from CAFOs. Chicken became the cheapest protein in the country. Americans who had eaten chicken once a week in 1960 were now eating it 5, 6, 7 times a week. Nutritionists recommended it. Doctors praised it as lean, healthy, heart smart. But something else was changing. Something invisible. Something nobody was measuring. When a chicken eats grass, insects, and seeds, its body synthesizes omega-3 fatty acids. These fats are anti-inflammatory. They cool the body. They reduce swelling. They protect joints, blood vessels, brain tissue. For thousands of years, chickens eating their natural diet produced meat with an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of roughly 1:1. Balanced, neutral, healing. When a chicken eats only corn and soybeans, its body produces omega-6 fatty acids almost exclusively. Omega-6 fats are pro-inflammatory. They activate the immune system. They create heat. They signal the body to swell, to defend, to attack. By 1980, industrially raised chicken had an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of 20:1. Some studies measured it as high as 30:1. You were eating the same animal, but nutritionally, chemically, you were consuming a completely different substance. The USDA tracks nutrient content in American food. Between 1970 and 2004, they documented the collapse. Omega-3 content in chicken fell by 77%. Vitamin E dropped by half. Beta-carotene, the compound that made chicken fat golden, nearly disappeared. This was not a small shift. This was a nutritional implosion. But no government agency sounded the alarm. No major health organization warned the public. The information sat in scientific journals that almost no one outside academia would ever read. Meanwhile, something was happening in doctors' offices across America. Something that would define the next 40 years of public health. In 1975, inflammatory arthritis was relatively uncommon. It affected about 3% of American adults, mostly in their 70s and 80s. Autoimmune diseases like lupus and rheumatoid arthritis were rare enough that most family doctors saw only a handful of cases in their entire careers. By 1995, inflammatory arthritis rates had doubled. Autoimmune disease diagnoses were climbing steadily every single year. Chronic inflammation, a term that barely existed in 1970, had become so common that researchers started calling it a silent epidemic. Joint pain, stiffness, swelling, morning aches that never quite went away, knees that hurt when climbing stairs, hands that throbbed when opening jars. It was everywhere, and it was no longer limited to the very old. People in their 50s, their 40s, even their 30s were showing up with inflammatory markers that doctors could not explain. The medical establishment treated it like a mystery. The assumption was aging, genetics, wear and tear, bad luck. Doctors prescribed anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs like ibuprofen, steroids like prednisone. When those stopped working, they prescribed biologics, powerful immune suppressants that cost thousands of dollars per month. By the year 2000, the market for anti-inflammatory medications had grown to $80 billion annually. Pharmaceutical companies were publishing research papers, funding medical conferences, and training doctors to see chronic inflammation as an inevitable part of getting older. But it was not inevitable. It was dietary. And the primary driver was sitting on dinner plates 6 nights a week. When you consume high levels of omega-6 fatty acids day after day, year after year, your body enters a state of low-grade chronic inflammation. Your immune system never turns off. Your joints accumulate fluid. Your blood vessels stiffen. Your tissues break down faster than they can repair themselves. It is not dramatic. It is not sudden. There is no single moment where you feel it happen. It is slow, cumulative, invisible. But over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, the damage compounds. And because chicken had become the foundation of the so-called healthy American diet, because it was affordable and available everywhere, because every health authority recommended it as a lean protein, people were eating it every single day. Grilled chicken salads for lunch, baked chicken breast for dinner, chicken sandwiches, chicken wraps, rotisserie chicken from the grocery store. The food that was supposed to keep them healthy was quietly driving the inflammation that was making them sick. The poultry industry knew the nutritional profile had changed. Internal research documented it. Academic studies confirmed it. In 2008, the Journal of Nutrition published a comparison study. Pasture-raised chickens, anti-inflammatory fat profile, rich in omega-3s. Factory-farmed chickens, pro-inflammatory fat profile, almost no omega-3s. The data was clear, undeniable, but it stayed buried in scientific journals. It did not reach grocery store labels. It did not reach doctors' offices. It did not reach the millions of Americans eating factory chicken 6 times a week, wondering why their bodies hurt more with each passing year. There was no incentive to change the system. Cheap chicken kept profit margins high. Chronic inflammation kept patients returning to doctors. Medications kept them functional enough to keep working, keep buying, keep consuming. The system worked perfectly, just not for the people trapped inside it. Today, researchers are finally naming what happened. They call it the omega-6 crisis. The modern American diet now contains 10 to 20 times more omega-6 fatty acids than omega-3s. Most of it comes from industrial meat, especially chicken, and from processed vegetable oils made from corn and soybeans. And the inflammation it creates is now linked to nearly every chronic disease plaguing modern society. Arthritis, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, depression, Alzheimer's, autoimmune disorders, cancer. The chickens did not get sick. We did. Let's go back to that farm in Iowa in 1965. Harold's chickens lived for 16 weeks. They moved freely. They ate a diverse, natural diet. The meat they produced had a balanced fat profile that human bodies had evolved to recognize and use. When Harold's wife roasted that chicken on Sunday, her body knew what to do with it. The fats cooled inflammation. The nutrients rebuilt tissue. The meal nourished her in ways that went beyond calories. She did not need anti-inflammatory medication. She did not wake up with joint pain. She did not spend her 60s wondering why her hands hurt when the weather changed. Not because she had better genetics, not because life was easier, but because the food she ate had not been engineered to prioritize speed and profit over nourishment. You cannot go back to 1965. The infrastructure that supported small family farms raising chickens on pasture has been largely dismantled. But you can make informed choices now. Pasture-raised chicken still exists. You can find it at farmers markets, specialty grocers, and some larger chains that are finally responding to consumer demand. It costs significantly more because it requires more time, more land, and real food instead of cheap commodity grains. But the nutritional difference is profound. The omega-6 to omega-3 ratio in pasture-raised chicken is close to what it was 50 years ago. Your body will recognize it. Your inflammation markers will respond. Your joints may remember what it felt like to move without pain. This is not about perfection. This is not about going back in time. This is about understanding the pattern. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Cheap food made us expensive patients. The farm changed first. The pharmaceutical industry followed, and somewhere in between, we forgot that food is not just fuel, it is information, it is medicine. It is the difference between a body that heals itself and a body that slowly breaks down. The industrial food system taught us to value convenience and price above everything else. The medical system taught us that chronic pain and inflammation are just part of aging. But your grandmother's body knew something different. She knew that golden fat meant the chicken had eaten greens. She knew that dark meat meant the bird had moved and lived. She knew that real food smelled different, tasted different, and made you feel different. She did not need scientific studies to tell her what her body already understood. That knowledge was not lost. It was buried, replaced by systems that prioritized efficiency over health. But it is still here, in every pasture-raised chicken, in every farmer who refuses to cut corners, in every person who chooses to remember what food used to be. The story of chicken is the story of modern food. We made it faster. We made it cheaper. We made it convenient. And in the process, we made it into something our bodies no longer recognize as nourishment. But recognition can return, knowledge can resurface, and choices, however small, can begin to shift the pattern. If this vault opened something for you, subscribe to Healing Knowledge Vault and hit the bell. Every like and every share helps preserve what they tried to erase. The next vault opens soon.